Did you see the State of the Union address last
I did,
night?
yeah.
And I imagine you have thoughts.
I tuned in, I almost have to, by virtue of being, a Republican voter, I have to display my membership card and say I didn't like it. But I loved it. It was still especially bad, even considering that I sort of have to dislike it. It didn't seem coherent. He seemed very angry. The presentation was off. But even that considered, the win condition, kind of like we said earlier for Democrats, was we need him to get up there and give a speech and not collapse and not have a gaffe or too many gaffes, at least. And that was more or less accomplished. He said everything he needed to say to vilify the opposition, to justify any persecution of the opposition, compared them literally within the first 60 seconds to Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany. And so for the Democrats, that was like a win. For the country is obviously not so positive.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, is that her name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What happened there? I haven't watched the...
She yelled out, say her name, because there was a young lady who was murdered by an illegal alien. And then Joe Biden said her name, but he got it wrong.
It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegal?
And then I think the people on Twitter, Democrats, and even some congressmen were upset because he used the term illegal to describe the person who murdered her.
So some Democrats push back against that publicly.
Because, you're not supposed to call them illegal because no human being is illegal. I don't know if you know that.
Now, you should have said undocumented, but it's not a big thing, okay? What's the big thing about it?
No, I actually wasn't even going to ask about that. I was just going to ask more about the moment. But you do think that he should have said undocumented? That wasn't going to be my question.
Well, we usually say undocumented. He said illegal. I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay.
I don't think it's a big deal.
But that is...
I don't know, man. I got fired on my birthday a month before my wedding and thereby became illegal.
You would think.
I was illegal. That's what happened, man.
And so they were upset, but she basically, yelled out. She tried to have her own version of the you lie moment from the Obama State of the Union, when he was speaking about the Affordable Care Act, sort of.
The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegal. It's not true.
And so, on the one hand, I don't like that sort of conduct in politics. I would fantasize more about the days of the past when people were just more professional, more classy. However, even then, that was still going on. So it's not like completely unheard of in American politics. It's always been very rambunctious. People used to get into fights on the floor of that building where that, speech was delivered. Oh yeah, beat each other with canes. You almost would rather have that than this sort of like bickering back and forth. Like just go at each other. Don't
if you hate each other, let's just do this. Let's not go halfway.
But it was good that she disrupted it because it does throw him off. This guy is on some unprecedented concoction of uppers, Adderall, God knows what, just focusing, reading the teleprompters. And then when he's got some young lady, or not young, but some woman in the audience,
relative to him,
who's yelling out at him, now his train of thought is completely derailed. And so it allowed for her to show the world that this guy is not sharp. Maybe Joe Biden in 2008 would have a quip. Trump is always still very good at this. Obama was. Even Hillary Clinton, when they would ask her in 2016, like, did you wipe your server? She would say, what, like with a cloth? People would laugh at that. And it's a good way of sort of disarming the fact that she had this server with these emails and she deleted them and they weren't able to investigate the conduct and whatever. So it's very just casual. You have to be able to do that as a politician. And he, because of his age, and I almost feel guilty. I'm not relishing in this. It's just if you have family, you understand, as you get older, you get dementia, Alzheimer's, this is what tends to happen. Unfortunately, that man is the chief executive of the nation.
Are you not afraid that the same might happen to Trump given his age?
I'm sure it could. I would not like to see that. I don't think it is happening right now. Certainly he's not the Trump that he was in 2016 where he was, giving rallies and he's very animated and New Yorker. He's much more, relaxed now, but I don't see him sort of declining in the way that Biden has. But what's also important is when you have a president, they're not, working all the time and making all the decisions. You're voting for their administration. And the administration that Biden brings in is far different from the administration that Trump brings in. And so Trump himself maybe is going to reach a state where he's not as sharp as he used to be, but he's got, 1,000 young guys who are there with him, who understand what has to happen from a policy perspective, who are able to implement the agenda to where if you weren't watching his speeches in comparison to 2016, you'd think that he's even improved because of his ability to execute on what he wants to happen in the country.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.